Hi guys, it's Jason here from Headfirst. Today we're looking at this beast. It's a 1971, 1959 Super Lead. Give you a quick look at it. It's the heaviest Super Lead I've ever picked up, and I'll show you why in a minute. This amp was actually purchased by a guy in a deceased estate auction, so he never actually got to see the amp. And just took a bit of a punt that, you know, hey, it's a 1971 Marshall, it's worth getting. And it will be worth getting eventually. This thing is the most heavily modded, and I mean in a crazy, insane way, heavily modded Marshall that I have ever seen. Let's take it to the bench and I'll show you why. All right, let's just take a moment to take in the glory of this modification. So I'm just going to move this down a touch so you can kind of see what's going on, right? You'll be looking at this thinking, what the hell is going on? So let me just tip the chassis up. You kind of get an idea of what's going on. Well, we don't know what it does, but we'll see what's happened. Okay, here's the front of our Marshall, as we know and love. So simple mod here with a pot here. I don't know what any of this does yet, but I'm sure we're all looking at this and thinking, what the fuck is that? Okay, I'm going to tilt it back this way and give you a bit of a look at what's going on in there. Right, you'll see the power transformer here. Okay, and 4 additional canned filter caps with diodes, diode rectifiers, big old ones, and this, let's call it a circuit board placed on top. Now, I'll give you a glimpse at the side of it, at the end of it I should say. There you go. You can see we've got some power transistors, output transistors here, and obviously the other end of that power transformer. So this is a solid state power amp, or preamp and power amp, which has been, shall I say cleverly or insanely, bolted on to the top of this good old 71 Marshall, which is kind of, as I said, right, this is the reason why this amp's so bloody heavy. It's got a non-original power transformer on it. But, you know, I'm kind of speechless. I mean, I've had this amp in here for a little while now, and it's been sitting on the shelf waiting my attention, because I've been in the US and other things and I haven't had a chance to look at it yet, so I've had time to kind of absorb it. But it still blows me away every time I look at it, and it's crazy. So let's have a look at the underside of this. Definitely an original 71 turret board here, and a reasonably good collection of original components through this amplifier. Not all the way, obviously, but we can see some original mustard caps. We can see some of these resistors would be original. These pots all look original, actually. There's some crazy stuff going on here with the bias supply filtering, where we've got 100 microfarad electrolytic caps, which are literally placed on top of the factory ones. It's one way to do a bias cap change, I guess. Pretty crazy. Hello. So there's some crazy shit going on down here. Here's an electrolytic cap, and I don't even know. Here's a relay, an old relay, which has been glued onto the top here. So this pot at the front here. Oh yeah, this jack here is a foot switch jack. Okay, so that's going to the relay. And this, the other side of the relay coil is going to this thing. So this must be that's a bridge rectifier and a filter cap. So the bridge rectifier is coming off the 6.3 volt AC to create a low voltage DC supply to power the relay. I don't know what the relay does circuit wise, but you know, probably some sort of cascade model, something crazy like that. So the brief of this job is to bring this back to a dead stock 1971 Super Lead. So it's going to take some time. There is a fair amount of work here to do. No mods, all right, dead stock Super Lead with a post-phase inverter master. So the owner of the amp does want a master volume. Now, in terms of, I bet everyone's thinking, what the hell is this solid state amp doing? Now, this amp has not been powered on, and the owner who bought this at the auction has not powered it on. All right, so we're going to do that on this video. I'm going to do it gently with my variac, and I'll probably bring it up at 60, 120, 180, and then 240, reasonably gently. And we're going to see whether we can make out anything about the circuit. I'm not going to attempt to even try and reverse engineer any of this crazy shit, but I'm just curious as to whether the solid state amp even works and why you would even have it. And if you've got any crazy ideas as to why someone would implement this, let me know in the comments of the video. I have seen something similar in the past where, well, not similar, but I'd had an old 100-watt Marshall in here one time, and the owner had purchased it from a factory where it was being used as a PA amplifier in the factory, and it had multiple speaker jacks drilled out on the rear of it, obviously to power speaker cabinets that were in different parts of this factory. And I looked at this and this is a slave amp, right? And I wonder whether that was the case. Either that or someone just didn't think the 100-watt Marshall was loud enough, so they wanted to run even more cabinets. But what we can see with this crazy thing is that, I'll tilt this back a bit, these are our speaker outputs here, and we can see this grey wire is tapped off the signal. The signal's been tapped off the speaker jack here like a line out, I guess, and it's coming across into this pot on the back of the amp. It's kind of like a volume, let's call this a volume pot. Okay, and the output of this, the wiper of this volume, makes its way through that hole and into the input of that circuit board that's on the top of that crazy edition. So it would seem to me that what we have here is a slave amp that's been tapped off the normal speaker output. So what I'm going to do to test this actually is I'm going to run a resistive load on the output of the amp, and I'm going to plug my speaker cabinet into this solid state amp and see whether we can get a signal out of it. Because these will be the speaker jacks, these will be the outputs of the solid state amp here. Crazy. I've got my meter just set up here in DC, and I'm going to this is a positive connection here. I'm going to keep it hands free, but I'm on the plate. Okay, so I'm on pin 3 of these power tubes, and I can see these guys have actually got flyback diodes put on the plates. Not a crazy idea. Certainly not as crazy as the shit that's on top of this amp. These bias check resistors look a bit crazy. I might just check those for a second. Certainly not 1 ohm. 470 ohms. Yeah. Okay, why? Why? All I've got to say about that. Now my variac's on 0 volts here, and the amp, I'm just going to throw it on. The volume's down, and then the solid state volume is down. And I'm just going to bring it up and stand back. It's going to come up to, we're going to come up to 60 volts AC. It's been recapped, this thing. Right, so the can caps for the tube amp don't look super old. The RS radio spares, so they're certainly not original. Not factory. Hard to know exactly when they were done. It's not the neatest job. You can see, if you look closely on here, you can see how it's been done. You know, I mean, seen worse, but it's not the tidiest work. So here we go, we've got 140 volts on the plates and I'm at 60 volts, so it's a quarter of the regular wall voltage. So that's kind of about right, what we'd expect. Bring it up, I'm going to bring it up to 120, which will be half of the regular wall voltage here in Australia. You can see the power transformer, by the way, which was replaced, non-original. It's not connected to this voltage selector. Okay, bring it up on the variac here, we're coming up to, that's 100. And we're at 120 now. So we're half the wall voltage now. If you doubled this, you'd be at 520 plate voltage, which it won't happen, right? The power tubes aren't conducting yet. They don't have enough heater voltage to start conducting, so there'll be almost no current draw on the PT. So when that starts to happen, you'll see the voltage start to pull down. So it'll be healthy, I'm sure, but it won't be 520. I will check now, we're at kind of halfway on the voltage scale. I'm just going to use this other meter here to do, I'm going to place it, I'll just place it on top here for a second, make sure you can see it. I just want to check the heater voltage. It was a good idea, because, you know, we should be seeing 3. It's a little bit corroded, those contacts, but I'm going to go 3 volts AC, which is about right. I'm expecting 6.3, and we're halfway. Let's bring this up now to 180. Now, 180, there will be enough heater voltage here to start having these power tubes conduct. And we'll be kind of seeing whether we can get, well, let's see what happens. Okay, bringing it up. 170. And now we're at 180. All 4 of the power tubes are glowing now. I'm not going to use these bias resistors, well, bias measuring resistors to try and grab a bias current. I'll grip my probe out as soon as we've kind of verified that the amps can handle the voltage. And we'll see what's going on with that a bit later. Alright, let's bring it up to 240 now. It's been sitting here for a little while. Stand back. We're at 200, 220, 235, which is, I measured the wall voltage at the house the other day and I had 235, so pretty healthy plate voltage here, guys. 485, 484. Okay, well, I've just ran a quick test signal into this. Just had the probe here on the output. It looks clean. I'd say it was crystal clean, but it's definitely amplifying the signal. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to be brave enough, plug a guitar input into this and see what kind of sound it makes. I'm going to play some tones here very quickly so you get an idea of what it's sounding like. I'm pretty clean. That's loudish in here. It's not ear-piercingly loud, but, you know, certainly above TV volume. And I'll just play this on a humbucker for a second and see if we can get it to break up a bit. Nice. I'm pretty impressed with that, actually. Just try plugging my speaker cabinet into, I'll move this down a bit, into the output of the solid state amplifier here. And it's this speaker jack here is dead. There's nothing there, and I notice it's fused. This is a fuse here, which is running in series to the output of here. So maybe there's no fuse in here, or it's blowing. So I plugged it in over here, and this one is wired up directly to the output here, and it's just got a wicked hum, like 100 hertz, kind of really, really loud hum with no signal. So I turn the volume up a bit, and there's just nothing there. So mystery solved. This solid state thing is a big pile of crap, and it doesn't work. The core of the tube amp seems pretty good. Needs a lot of work, obviously, to bring it back to stock and clean all of this mess up. But I think we've got something to work with here. And Paul, who owns this amp, dude, you'll be pretty happy, man, I reckon. This will be able to be restored with a bit of TLC, and will give you some fantastic Marshall tones for years to come. So stay tuned, guys. This is going to be a multi-part video. Stick around for those. Tune in, and I'll see you on the next clip.